Bulls Nation, it seemed I decided to sleep at the wrong time last night, because as soon as I made that video about the Chicago Bulls drafting Stanley Johnson, or signing Stanley Johnson, I should say, they went ahead and decided to sign 2 more players. One player in that power forward position. Once again, as I said, it may not be over at that power forward position, and it definitely was not. And another player that is going to be a solid shooter for the Chicago Bulls. We're going to be talking about Alize Johnson and Matt Thomas. We're going to be discussing those 2 signings in this video. Let's do it. What's going on, everybody? It's the Aidan Sports Show, and welcome back to another video. Today we've got a Chicago Bulls related video referring to some official signings the Chicago Bulls have decided to do. In the end, a very interesting signing in Alize Johnson, and definitely a questionable one, but one that could potentially be very solid for the Chicago Bulls in Matt Thomas. But before we get started, please like and subscribe to the Aidan Sports Show YouTube channel, turn notifications on, and let me know in the comments below your thoughts about the 2 signings the Chicago Bulls have made today. First, we're going to be looking at Matt Thomas. Last played for the Utah Jazz, I believe. He averaged this season with 45 games played, 3.1 points per game, 1 rebound, 0.4 assists per game, shooting 39% from the field and 33.6% or 33.8% from the 3-point line. He didn't average a whole lot of minutes, I should say. Again, only 7 minutes per game in his last season. But he's definitely someone that is a solid shooter, and that's something that is very valuable to any team. When you need some offense, you put a shooter into the team, someone that can get an open shot, take open shots, and make open shots most importantly. He's a shooting guard, he's 6'4", he's 27 years old, and he has 2 years in the NBA as experience. This is something that, in my opinion, is someone I don't see getting a whole lot of game time. I see this player being very similar to a Ryan Arcidiacono type player, someone that's going to be the 3rd or 4th choice on the team and will come in when we instantly need some offense. You put this guy in who can shoot, or someone that will get game time ahead of players who do have injuries. So it's not a bad signing in my opinion. I do think shooting and offense on this team, especially off the bench, could be very useful. But once again, I don't see tremendous game time coming from this player. It is what it is. It doesn't need to be a wow, this signing's a big flop, we shouldn't have done it. It's things like that. I don't think there's any need for that at the moment, because we do need some scoring off of the bench. I think without Kobe White, we don't have terrific scoring, especially 3-point scoring off of the bench. It's more of a transition game. So having the ability to get some better shooters on the team is something I can't really complain about. So I'm not too fussed about the Matt Thompson signing. I think he could be solid for this team, but I don't see him getting a whole lot of game time for the Chicago Bulls unless someone does get injured. And of course, I think the one that most people want me to discuss, Alize Johnson. Played for the Indiana Pacers and the Brooklyn Nets. A very interesting player, 3 years experience in the NBA. His season averages this year was 5.2 points per game, 5 rebounds per game, 0.8 assists per game, shooting 58.8% from the field and only 16% from the 3-point line. So you could just tell by the way that this guy shoots the ball and his field goal percentages, he's not going to be a 3-point shooter for the Chicago Bulls. Again, he's very similar to the players like Vanderbilt. He's very similar to the players like even a Troy Baxter, someone that is going to be a massive rebounding threat for the Chicago Bulls, and off of the bench, 5 rebounds is definitely nothing to laugh at. Again, you had starters on this team that barely averaged 5 rebounds per game that played in very similar positions. So at the end of the day, a 5 rebound threat coming off the bench at times, very, very valuable to have. Defensively, very, very solid, has something to prove. He hated not getting a lot of game time for the Indiana Pacers, and he did show out against them. That's probably the highlight game you look at when you look at Alize Johnson. Go look at the game for the Brooklyn Nets when they were versing the Indiana Pacers. You see the highlights. I was going to talk about this player already today, so the fact that this is official basically is, I guess, good news and bad news. I don't get to make a video solely about him, but I get to discuss him in this video. I like this player. I really, really do. I think there's a lot of potential to him. I think there's a player in there that could definitely shine through on a team. He's definitely a power forward, and we need power forward presence who's a solid defender and a solid rebounder. And I think this is definitely the guy that could do that for the Chicago Bulls. He was one of my options that I would have really liked on this team, put it that way. I know it took me a while to talk about him, but as more as we were linked to this guy, again, Brooklyn Nets fans like this guy, and now the Chicago Bulls have him. He decided to join the Chicago Bulls. He's very happy about it, and he's a hard-working player, and he's a player that is very intense, and that's exactly what you want to see. Many people became fans of this guy as soon as we were linked to him, and I'm a big fan of him as well. So I really enjoy this signing. He's the power forward I would pick over Stanley Johnson, who we did sign prior to that. But of course, Stanley Johnson and Alize Johnson are now on the same team. So there's no discussions about which one, or this one, or this one. It doesn't matter. The fact of the matter is they're both on this team now, along with Matt Thompson, and we've made all the signings the Chicago Bulls need to do. Now, according to my knowledge, I don't think Matt Thompson is someone that is going to be staying on the Chicago Bulls long term. I don't really know. Many people saying that he's part of the training camp and the preseason with the Chicago Bulls. From what I understand, according to Woj and Shams, Stanley Johnson signed on a 1-year deal, Alize Johnson signed on a 2-year deal, and Matt Thompson signed on a 1-year deal. So I see them all playing for the Chicago Bulls. But I'm not sure if any of them are going to be staying here for the long term, except for Alize Johnson, who signed a 2-year contract. So congratulations to Alize Johnson. Welcome to the Chicago Bulls. Matt Thompson, welcome to the Chicago Bulls. And of course, we talked about Stanley Johnson in the last video. Hopefully these players can shine through. I do believe we have one more 2-way contract. Correct me if I'm wrong. I do believe we have one more 2-way contract to give to a Chicago Bulls player. So the potential of Troy Baxter is not dead and buried for people that like Troy Baxter, even Simi Shitsu. That's not a dead and buried situation. There is a position there where the Chicago Bulls might go after one of those players in a 2-way contract. So let's see what happens. I'm very intrigued to see what the Chicago Bulls can do. A 1-year deal for Matt Thompson, 2-year deal for Alize Johnson. Alize Johnson, I think, will be a fan favorite for the Chicago Bulls over the coming year. And with more opportunity to play, I think he could do a lot better than what he did in his last season and even the seasons before that. And of course, when you're looking at Matt Thompson, he definitely has something to prove. But again, solid shooting is something I think the Chicago Bulls shouldn't refuse, especially off that bench where we might need it here and there. And I'm going to end this video here, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you guys for watching. Please like and subscribe if you're new. I will be making more videos about these two later on. I'll be talking about the roles that I solely see them in and what they could be on this team, transition-wise, off the bench, what Billy Donovan can do out of them, all of these things. I'll be talking more about that at a later time. But this is my video welcoming both of those players to the Chicago Bulls. And let's get to work. It looks like our roster's set for this year, for the most part, and there won't be too many of these videos of should the Chicago Bulls pursue this player or pursue that player. It looks like our roster is finally going to be set at this point in time. Of course, things can change, and we'll be talking about those, but it looks like we know what we're going to do this upcoming season. We know the roster. We know the people that are going to war for the Chicago Bulls pretty much. They're going to fight every single game for our team. We know the players now. We can trust the players. We back the players. We support the players. And let's go see what we can do this season. Have a wonderful and safe day. Bulls Nation, stay safe, stay healthy, and stay tuned for more. Take care and peace.